Hello, how are you? This is part 4. As always, this is my opinion, it's not an advice. Okay, so before jumping to today's topic, I want to just elaborate on my video, The Hidden Crash, and move really quickly through some of the hype stocks. Of course, there's tons of them, but just when I give examples of how crazy it's getting even much worse than the video that I recorded 2 weeks ago. So S Limited, we have the high 15, now we're at 4.3, so we're talking about 25% from the high. So you put $100,000. Now you're left with 25,000. Who knows how much low it can get? Of course, nobody will just buy at the top, but some people will get caught. Some people will get caught at $8, $10, $12, $13, whatever. Okay, so Adamus 2.3. Now it's at 0.72. So we were talking about 30%. Hyliion 52, 58. $8, $9, so you're talking about 15%, almost. CCIV $19 from 64, so also around 15-16%. 1.3 from 8, probably 10%. Gevo, which also green energy company and should got a lot of benefits from Biden, it's 6.3, and the high was 15.7, so you're talking about also probably around 40%. So these are crazy numbers, and this is unfortunate. When this is happening, that means there's investors who bought around the high. They just one of the other. Either they held and they were hoping that the stock will bounce back, and they got screwed. Like how a lot of people made money from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and the others who sold with a loss. And this applies for all people who bought around this range. And why it's always scary for people who bought these stocks, because you're talking about the low is 0.46. So this is the crazy thing. They think, okay, we didn't even get to the low, and I'm already 60, 70, 40, 30% in red. So how long I can wait? Okay, so let's jump back to the crazy thing that is happening. And I noticed it because usually I spend a lot of time just looking at the charts, thinking about it. It's kind of like a stock market yoga. I like to do that. I like to listen to videos to a few guys what I like to listen to on YouTube, and just listen to I fall asleep. So I was looking, and I think I was lucky enough to indicate this, because I think this is crazy and this never happened before through the history of Nasdaq. So okay, we are here at 14,095. This is the high. This is all-time high. Okay, we got a small pullback. Actually, it's not small. It's probably a correction. You can call it 10%. Then we went back up. So far, this looks normal. But I start looking here, and we can see this mountain here. And like something doesn't look like right, because these mountains, like this huge mountain shape, doesn't happen usually. Like it's when you look here, it's hard to see it. Probably here, but here there was a crazy crash. But now we are not in a crazy crash. So what's going on? So anyway, what I did is I looked here at the top. And we are at 10 billion shares volume. So 10 billion shares were traded to reach 14,000. When we are now back up again, we are at 4.3 billion. So imagine 6 billion shares less were traded to reach again to the all-time high. And this proved my theory that we are in a hidden crash. Because what does that mean? That means that there are some companies with much fewer, they were pumped all the way up high with with 6 billion shares less to reach the all-time high. So that's mean all the money is going to these few companies that who have a huge share of the Nasdaq. Others, nobody cares about them, and that's why they got screwed. Eventually, if there's no buyer, there's a lot of sellers, and that's how we saw all of these companies. And there's of course maybe, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 other companies who have similar sad stories, and they got screwed. Okay, let's don't take my word for granted, and let's go back. So we look here at 11.7. We have 3.6 billion shares. Here 3.8, very close. Okay, here is a crash. We can't take it as an example. And if you want, like, look, it's 2.24. So actually it got higher, not lower, not half of the shares, double of the shares, to be able to pull the stock from this huge pullback. Okay, let's check here. 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, you can do it by yourself, I think, but I would just go to the vocal years, which are 2016. So 1.6, 1.9. I will skip all the way now to 2011. So 2, 2. Here's the 2008. 1.8, 2.5, 2, 2, 2. So you see, there's nothing even close to what's happening in the history of Nasdaq. Nothing close. Okay, the first thing that a lot of people are thinking about is, what about the 2000 bubble? Okay, let's go there. Here we go. So this a little bit similar to what is happening now, because we had a pullback and we got right up again. So we are at 2 billion shares, 1.7. Okay, after strong correction. Okay, if you want to compare this to that, but this is much bigger, but let's take it as an example. 1.5, 1.9. So this is crazy. I really believe this is what is happening is crazy, and I believe this is just a huge sign that the stock market is rigged. And when I think about it, there are just two things that pop in my mind. It's either that, okay, the Fed or somebody, like, they don't want the market to crash now, because people still don't have their jobs, so they don't want any big problems to happen. They don't want inflation to rise. So okay, just make these big companies stable. Don't let them crash. Let's go 1% high, 1% up, 1% down, and let's just keep this. I don't know how long they keep doing that, because other investors, they want to make money, and sooner or later they will start getting scared and they just want to sell. But I don't know, it's gonna get crazy enough that the Fed start buying stocks from Nasdaq. I don't know, honestly. The other explanation is that these big hedge funds, they understand what's happening, and they know that if they sell now, they will not get a lot of money. So they're trying desperately to pop the market up and try to attract as much small investors as possible before they pull the trigger. And this could happen. They could, like, agree within each other, because it's not for their benefits if one of them pulled the trigger. But this happened with this hedge fund in Hong Kong, and they agreed that nobody will pull the trigger, but one did, and this is what made the whole collapse. So really, the next month, I believe it will have crazy stuff happening. Sooner or later, people will go back to their normal life, to work, and start just pulling money little by little from these big companies, and things will get messy, I believe, unless, of course, that the Fed or they keep buying the stocks directly. I don't know if this is possible, but who knows what's happening. Okay, thank you. Please let me know what you think.